The shelter hall was silent except for the faint hum of ceiling fans and the occasional metallic clink of cages. Sunlight spilled through dusty windows, forming long pale stripes across the concrete floor. It was supposed to be an ordinary visiting day, the kind where families came to adopt lonely animals. But nothing about this day would be ordinary, not for the staff, not for the animals, and definitely not for the little girl in the wheelchair who was about to change everything. Her name was Lily, a 7-year-old with big brown eyes, thin arms, and a soft pink blanket tucked over her paralyzed legs. Her mother pushed her chair gently through the entrance, careful with every movement, as if the world itself was too harsh for her fragile daughter. Everything looked too big around her, too loud, too frightening. She could feel the anxious tremble in her own hands as she held the stuffed rabbit she carried everywhere. Just a few feet away, in the darkest corner of the shelter, a dog watched her. He was a large German shepherd with thick fur and eyes that held storms. His name was Rocco, a former police K9, once a hero, now known as the aggressive one. Volunteers kept their distance from him. He barked at everyone. He lunged at every hand reaching toward his cage. The staff had nearly given up, convinced that whatever he had seen in his service had broken something inside him that could never be fixed. They whispered about him when they thought no one was listening, dangerous, unpredictable, beyond saving, and yet in that quiet, charged moment when Lily entered, something shifted in the air, something no one could quite explain. Rocco's growls faded, his ears perked, his eyes softened. He leaned forward, drawn to her like a magnet to steel, and Lily, who struggled even to raise her hands, felt something warm inside her chest, as if she were seeing a friend she had somehow known forever. If you believe in unexpected miracles, second chances, and kindness that changes lives, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heartwarming Kindness. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Lily's mother wheeled her deeper into the shelter. Dogs barked and jumped excitedly as she passed, but she didn't look afraid. She looked curious, almost hopeful. It had been months since she had shown interest in anything. Months since the accident that stole her ability to walk and nearly stole her smile. Before that night, Lily had been full of energy. She loved running in parks, racing with friends, dancing in the living room, twirling in a pink dress. One moment of joy, one distracted driver, one crash, and her legs never woke again. Her father left shortly after, unable to handle the guilt or the responsibility. Her mother was doing everything she could, working 2 jobs, surviving on broken sleep. Lily spent most days in silence, vacant eyes, lost inside grief too heavy for a child to carry. But something different was happening now. Her small hand tightened around her stuffed rabbit as she stared at the corner cage. Her mother noticed her focus and followed her daughter's gaze. When she realized which dog Lily was staring at, her heart skipped. Not that one. The staff had warned, he's unpredictable, he's dangerous, don't let visitors near him, especially kids. Rocco had lunged at a volunteer just a week before. But Lily's eyes didn't see danger. They didn't see a beast ready to attack. They saw loneliness, the same loneliness she had carried inside her since the accident. She lifted her hand toward him, trembling with effort, and the moment her fingers moved, Rocco sat perfectly still, head low, eyes soft, almost pleading. A volunteer rushed over, panic in her voice, insisting they move Lily away. But the little girl shook her head. She whispered that she wanted to go closer, whispered with the certainty of a child who somehow knew this creature wouldn't hurt her. Her mother hesitated. Fear battled with a strange instinct rising inside her. Something in Rocco's eyes reminded her of Lily after the accident. Broken, hurting, confused, scared, and longing for someone to understand. Cautiously, she rolled the wheelchair a little closer. Every staff member stopped what they were doing and watched, breathless. Rocco did not snarl. He did not bark. He lowered himself until his belly touched the cold floor and crawled forward until his nose gently pressed against the bars. No one had ever seen him do that, not once. Lily leaned forward. She placed her tiny hand against the metal. Rocco lifted one paw and pressed it against hers with the gentlest touch, as though he were afraid she might break. That was when the room changed. It felt like time had stopped. The fluorescent lights hummed in the background, the dust floated lazily in the air, and everyone watching felt a lump rise in their throat. This was not aggression. This was connection. Something deep. Something broken, finding something broken and recognizing itself. The shelter director approached slowly, puzzled and emotional. She explained to Lily's mother that Rocco hadn't let anyone near him since the last mission he worked. The mission that ended in tragedy, the mission that haunted him. His handler, Officer Ramirez, had been killed in a warehouse raid. Rocco had been there, fighting alongside him. He watched his handler fall. He tried to drag him to safety. He failed. Rocco's cries were so heartbreaking that even the toughest officers struggled to listen. Ever since that day, Rocco had refused every new handler. He snapped at strangers. He barked endlessly at walls. It was as if the loss had shattered his world. But now this little girl, this small, fragile, paralyzed child, was sitting calmly in front of him, and he was looking at her as if she were the only person alive who understood exactly how it felt to lose everything. Her legs, his handler, her sense of safety, his purpose, her childhood, his courage. Two broken souls meeting where no one expected healing to happen. Lily asked in her soft voice if she could touch him. The staff froze, torn between fear and the undeniable truth unfolding in front of them. Before they could answer, Rocco made the decision himself. He slowly backed away from the bars, circled once, and then lowered himself, belly to the ground, right in front of the cage door. He placed his head on his paws, eyes focused on Lily, waiting for someone to believe he could be gentle again. The director unlocked the gate. The staff gasped. Rocco did not move. Lily's mother held her breath and gently rolled her daughter closer. When Lily reached out and touched Rocco's fur, the room went silent. The dog did not flinch. He did not growl. Instead, he pressed his massive head softly into her lap and released a sound that was not quite a whimper and not quite a sigh. Something between pain and relief. Lily began to cry quietly, not from fear, but from a feeling she hadn't felt in so long, being needed, being important, being enough. Rocco's tail moved just barely, a slow, deliberate wag, like a heartbeat learning how to beat again. Over the next minutes, something unimaginable happened. Lily lifted her hand again, using all her strength, and Rocco sensed her struggle. Instead of moving away, he shifted himself closer, nudging his body so she could touch him without effort. It was as if he understood her limitations, as if he was protecting her in the only way he knew how. Her mother watched with tears rolling down her cheeks. The volunteers whispered in disbelief. They were witnessing a miracle. As minutes became an hour, Rocco refused to leave Lily's side. Staff tried calling him away. He ignored them. He stayed beside her, guarding her wheelchair as if it were his new duty. Something inside both of them was waking up. Lily laughed for the first time in months, a spark returning to her tired face. Rocco lifted his head, licking her hand softly, as if he were encouraging her to keep laughing. Her mother felt like she was watching the impossible. Doctors had said Lily's emotional recovery would take years. Therapists said she needed hope and purpose, but this dog, this broken, aggressive, traumatized dog, was giving her all of that in one afternoon. When it was time to leave, Rocco panicked. He whined. He pawed at the floor. He tried to follow her wheelchair. The staff held him back gently, but his eyes never left Lily. She reached toward him, tears streaming down her face again, not wanting to go either. Her mother promised they would return tomorrow, and they did. Every day, with each visit, Rocco changed. He became calmer. He ate normally again. He stopped barking at volunteers. He slept peacefully for the first time since his handler died. Lily changed too. She smiled more. She talked more. She even started practicing her arm exercises more eagerly, wanting to be strong enough to brush Rocco's fur by herself. Two shattered hearts healing each other piece by piece. A month later, Lily's doctor noticed something surprising. During physical therapy, she was responding quicker, trying harder. When he asked why, Lily whispered that she wanted to walk someday so she could take Rocco to the park. Her mother cried again, overwhelmed with gratitude. Then came the day the shelter director called Lily's mother into her office. She said Rocco had passed his behavioral tests. She said he was ready for adoption. But she added something else. Rocco refused to bond with any other visitor. He only calmed when Lily was near. It was clear who he had chosen. Lily's mother covered her face with trembling hands. They couldn't afford a dog. They barely paid rent. But before she could speak, the director slid a paper toward her. Akko's adoption was already paid for. Anonymous donation. Later they found out it was from Officer Ramirez's widow, who had heard the story and believed Rocco had finally found the partner he was meant to protect. The day Rocco came home was like watching a missing part of Lily's soul return to its place. He walked beside her wheelchair proudly, guarding her like she was the most precious thing on earth. Neighbors stared in awe. No one could believe that a dog once labeled dangerous now moved with the gentleness of a guardian angel. Lily fed him treats with shaky hands. Rocco slept beside her bed every night. When she woke from nightmares, he placed his head in her lap until she calmed. Slowly, she regained confidence. Slowly, he regained trust. And then something incredible happened. During a visit to the park, Lily tried to stand. Her legs trembled, her arms shook, but Rocco braced himself beside her, letting her hold his fur for support. It was just a few seconds. But to her mother, it felt like watching the sunrise after a lifetime of darkness. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heartwarming Kindness. Your support brings more real, emotional stories to life. Before the video ends, please comment. Healing comes in unexpected forms. Lily and Rocco became inseparable. A girl who couldn't walk and a dog who couldn't trust taught each other the meaning of strength, love, and healing. Two broken souls who proved that sometimes the ones most in need of rescue are the ones who rescue us right back.